Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am so happy that you're here today because today we have a really fun recipe in store. Now this is not just an average recipe, this is a dog cake recipe. Yes, I said it, we are making a dog cake. So recently our little princess turned 2 years old. By little princess, I mean our dog Raven. I don't know about you all, but we are crazy dog parents, so we wanted to give her the most special birthday cake. So I got in the kitchen and I made a homemade dog cake. So today I'll be sharing with you everything you need to know to make an easy and adorable dog cake. Now I really love this recipe just because it is not only super healthy for your dog due to all the ingredients that I chose to put in this cake, but it is also so cute. I really tried to mix style with something that was healthy, that a dog could eat, that of course wouldn't give them a tummy ache. So I was really careful in all the ingredients that I chose for this cake. I wanted to share that all the ingredients that we'll be using today for the most part will be organic. And that is because I wanted to use ingredients that were as least processed as possible. Now before putting this recipe together, I did a whole lot of research, so hopefully it saves you time so that you can go straight into making your dog cake and be stress-free, knowing that the ingredients you're putting into this cake are all healthy for a dog. So before we jump into the recipe, I'm just gonna quickly review with you some important information about some of the ingredients that we'll be using for this dog cake. To start, let's talk about peanut butter. You're gonna wanna make sure that peanut butter does not have the ingredient xylitol in it. Xylitol is very dangerous for dogs, so make sure that whatever peanut butter you choose, it does not have that ingredient in it. Also, I went with a creamy peanut butter for my recipe versus a crunchy peanut butter. I really wanted the batter to be a little bit more smooth so that there wouldn't be chunks of peanut in it, but really you can use whatever you want. Next, flour. The flour that you choose is very important. Make sure that you don't use any all-purpose flours or any bleached flours. I chose to use almond flour, but there are a lot of other options of flours that you can use for your dog as well. Almond flour is highly recommended. It's a really great option to use and it's quite affordable to find, so I highly recommend that one. However, if you don't have that on hand, I am gonna list a link down below that will basically share with you some other alternatives that you can use for your dog cake as well. Next, we'll talk about applesauce. So applesauce is another ingredient that we'll be using in this cake, and I chose to use organic unsweetened applesauce. Now, I recommend using the unsweetened applesauce just because it doesn't have any additional sugars. You're not gonna want any artificial flavorings or additional sugars in your dog cake. And now for our doggy frosting. So in order to give my frosting a cute pink color, what I used was a strawberry puree. Now you can actually puree pretty much any fruit you want. However, you're gonna wanna make sure that whatever fruit you choose is one, gonna give you the color you're looking for, and two is, most importantly, safe for your dog. So I'm also gonna list another link down below that will share with you some other fruit options that you can use that are safe for a dog. So you'll be mixing that puree with Greek yogurt, which I went with a non-fat plain Greek yogurt. You're not gonna want a vanilla or like flavored yogurt. So just a plain Greek yogurt is perfect. And then we're also gonna be putting some peanut butter in there. Not only do dogs absolutely love peanut butter, but it also gives the frosting a nice creamy texture. So the peanut butter is super important when you're making your dog frosting as well. So if you're fine with the cake not having a pink or blue color to it, you can simply just combine the Greek yogurt and the peanut butter, and that will still make for a delicious frosting that your dog is going to love. Fruits are truly just a great food coloring for a dog cake, so I highly recommend that you use that if you're wanting to color the cake. I recommend going for just natural ingredients that you know for a fact are not going to be toxic to your dog. And that just about covers all the important information you need to know about the ingredients we'll be using for this cake. So let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna start off with about 2 tablespoons of organic refined coconut oil, and we are going to melt this in a microwave just so it gets a nice loose consistency. And then I'm grabbing a silicone brush so that I can brush this to grease the inside of the pan. You're gonna wanna make sure you really get all the sides of the pan to make sure that your cake does not stick when the cake is done baking. I'm also using 3 6-inch pans for this cake. Now we're gonna mix the dry ingredients for the batter. So you'll grab a medium bowl and we're gonna pour in 2 cups of almond flour and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then we are gonna give this a really nice whisk and set it aside. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, you are not required to use almond flour. Just make sure that whatever flour you use is not a all-purpose flour or any kind of bleached flour. Now, almond flour is a really great option for a grain-free flour. If you are looking for a substitution, refer to the link I listed down below, and it will share with you some other grain-free options that you can use for your dog cake as well. Now it's time to mix our wet ingredients. You'll pour in 1/4 cup of organic coconut oil, 1 cup of organic pumpkin puree. Now, I did use the can for this just to make my life a little bit easier, but if you do, make sure that it is organic so that it's a little less processed. 1 cup of organic unsweetened applesauce. Now, the unsweetened has a lot less sugar, which is a lot better for your pup. And then you'll also need 1/2 cup of organic creamy peanut butter. Now you're gonna wanna make sure that the peanut butter that you choose does not have any xylitol. It is super harmful to dogs, so make sure that whatever peanut butter you choose, that you do read the ingredients and that you make sure it does not have any xylitol. And last, I'm pouring in 2 organic large eggs. Now that we have all of our wet ingredients in a bowl, I'm going to use my hand mixer to mix these ingredients just until they're combined. Next, we're going to begin mixing our dry ingredients into our wet ingredients. Now, just to make sure that you don't overmix, I recommend using a spatula to mix the dry ingredients in little by little. Once that's pretty well combined, then we're gonna begin dividing our batter into our 3 pans. To evenly distribute the batter, I like to use a cookie scoop. I find that this usually works to make all of my layers nice and even. Now this cake batter is pretty dense, so I'd like to grab my spatula and just smooth out the top of the batter in each of the pans to make sure it's nice and evenly spread. This will ensure that your cake layers come out nice and flat and even when they come out of the oven. Like I mentioned, this cake batter is pretty dense, so exactly the way you have it now is the way that it's gonna come out of the oven. It doesn't rise too much, so you'll have nice thin layers to make a perfect 3-layered cake. Next, it's time to toss these in the oven for about 30 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. While those are baking, we are gonna start working on our frosting. To start, you'll need a food processor and about 8 to 10 strawberries. I'm going to cut the stems off of each of the strawberries and then pour them into a food processor, where we're going to make a fresh strawberry puree. This is what's gonna make our frosting nice and pink. Now, if you're not looking to make the frosting pink, you can completely skip this step. If you don't have strawberries on hand, you can actually substitute it for any other fruit that a dog can eat. I'm actually gonna go ahead and list a link down below that'll share with you all the different fruits that are okay for dogs to eat. And our strawberry puree looks just right. So from here, we can grab a medium-sized bowl and pour in 2 cups of Greek yogurt. The Greek yogurt that I chose is a plain, non-fat Greek yogurt. So from here is where we're going to start adding our strawberry puree. Now, dependent on how pink you want your frosting to look is really how much you're gonna add here. And we're also going to be adding some peanut butter. Dogs love this stuff. You'll of course want to blend this well with the hand mixer. When I first started, I wasn't sure how much strawberry I was going to need, so I started off with 3 tablespoons, and that quickly led to 10 tablespoons of strawberry puree and 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. This is the combination I felt worked best for the shade of pink I was going for. Fruits are a great natural food coloring for dog cakes, so I chose strawberries because I really wanted the frosting to look nice and pink. So of course, if you are wanting to change the color, tailor your fruit to the color that you're looking for. And once you have the color you like, you are good to go. Once your cakes are out of the oven and nice and cool, then we are just going to loosen our cakes from the pan. So I like to use a butter knife and just swipe it right along the edges just to make sure it's nice and loose. You're definitely going to want to be gentle when you do this to make sure that you do not puncture your cake at all. Now for the design of the cake, we are going to just stack them. These cakes don't need any cutting or anything like that, so you're just gonna pull them out of the pan and stack them like so. Now to frost this cake, I actually just grabbed a Ziploc bag. You do not need any crazy piping bag to frost this cake. You're just going to grab a Ziploc bag and put frosting in the corner of the bag, and then you'll want to snip the corner to release the frosting from the bag. Now I recommend starting with a small snip, testing what size dollop comes out of the bag on a napkin. And then if you like the size, you can begin frosting your cake. When I frosted my cake, I noticed all of my dollops were about 1 inch. So if you're wanting to replicate this cake, I recommend continuing to snip until it gives you about a 1 inch dollop size. And then you're gonna squeeze dollops going around the entire cake until the entire cake is covered. And you'll just continue to stack your cake until it's all complete. This cake is honestly so easy to frost just because if you get messy with it, you really can't tell. So take the pressure off and have some fun. And to finish off the cake, I made some homemade dog treats with Raven's name in it, but you can grab any dog treats you want for this. So if you would like to see another video on how I made these homemade dog treats, feel free to list it in the comments down below, and I'd love to share that with you all as well. And that is all for today. I hope this recipe was super helpful and super easy for you to make. I hope that your dog absolutely loves this recipe just as much as our dog did. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if this does indeed help you. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to comment down below. I'm always happy to help. And I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.